Call me Henry Rollins, the way I would never tell a lie. No, never. Ah ha 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 ha. Ah ha ho, sucker. You remember that? You should. That song rules. No, I told you guys. I said, hey, let's check out Adula's Moonblade later. And so here we are, checking out Adula's Moonblade later. This is where you get Adula's Moonblade. You got to do Ronnie Quest, all of it. And then, as per From Software tradition, you're gonna fight a big magic dragon in order to get the Moonlight Greatsword, or the Dark Moon Greatsword in this game's case. So we gotta fight this dragon, and I'm gonna show you how I do it. This is at level 80. My weapons are all plus 17 on this build. This is Frog. If you are super curious and you're like, oh man, I really want to see a super in-depth explanation video about this build, then just go to the YouTube search bar up there and type in Saint Riot Frog Elden Ring, and I'm sure you'll probably find it. But yeah, level 80 with plus 17 weapons, and we have to beat Adula in order to get Adula's Moonblade. So I typically use Carrion Greatsword on my build. The reason I use that one is because it costs less, and when the game first came out, Adula's was really strong, and then they nerfed it. It used to hit, and if you hit point blank, it was like, you know, pretty brutal. They nerfed the point blank hit a little bit, and they made the frostbite magic wave, this thing, they made that do a little more damage, but it costs more FP to use it, and so I always just went with Carrion Greatsword. It was just more FP efficient. The reason I use Carrion Greatsword, the reason I like it so much, is if you hit someone with Carrion Greatsword, an R1, a light attack with a straight sword, immediately afterwards is a true combo, meaning that your opponent can't escape it. Now, that is latency dependent, and I will show off what I mean by that a little later on. But essentially, every true combo is latency dependent. If you're playing somebody who's got 100,000 ping, things that should combo are not going to. So it doesn't matter. But this is like really finicky. This is like really, really finicky. It works 99% of the time, sometimes it doesn't. So, there we go. We got Adula's Moonblade. Does the Carrion Glintstone Staff, whichever one, does it affect Adula's Moonblade? Here we have two different staffs, Carrion Glintstone, or whatever the hell it's called, and then the regular Academy Staff. Now, the regular Academy Staff just did less damage there, even though they're at the same upgrade, and the Academy Staff has better scaling. The Carrion Glintstone Staff still did more damage. So yes, Adula's Moonblade does count as a Carrion Sword sorcery, which, duh, but I just knew someone would ask, so I wanted to go ahead and get the answer before someone even asked. So, yeah, Carrion Greatsword into straight sword, light attack is a true combo, and that is a really nice little setup thing that you can do. And then from there you got a couple options of what you can do. So you go Carrion Greatsword, straight sword, light attack. From there you got a couple things you can do. If you think your opponent is going to stand still and challenge you, you can use the Gavel of Haima and flatten them like a pancake. If you think your opponent's going to roll away from you, Gavel of Haima might still hit. But if you think your opponent's going to roll away from you and you want to go for Carrion Piercer, that's also the play. I just really like the Gavel of Haima. I think it's funny. It's a big hammer, and it goes bonk, and it knocks you down on the ground, and that's just silly to me. Gavel of Haima also one of the only spells that, it hits twice. The hammer has a hitbox, and then the aftershock of the hammer hitting the ground also has a hitbox. So if you like full on hit somebody with that, then that hits it twice, and that will proc the Rotted Wingsword insignia and things like that. So that's something interesting that the gavel has going for it. If you want to, use that or build around that, it's pretty fun. So in this invasion, this is the first time I'm using Adula's Moonblade, and you might have noticed I hit that dude, but I didn't hit that lady, but I didn't hit them with the sword part. I hit them with the wave part, and it still staggered them. And so this is what was like the crux of my testing, was if you hit someone with carrying greatsword, they're staggered long enough for you to get that follow-up attack, the straight sword light attack. They're staggered long enough for you to get that off. Would they be staggered long enough for you to get it off of the moonbeam? And the answer is yes. But I don't know that you would have the range for it, because, like I said, they nerfed that beam. They nerfed the spell, and so, like, it starts farther out now. And so I think it starts too far out for you to hit somebody with it, and then to turn around and be able to hit them with the sword. But if someone has very little poise, like my opponent there, that beam, that wave, there's the build, by the way, on your screen, the numbers, that wave does do poise damage, and it will stagger somebody. This invasion I included here as a reminder to all blues of why I hate you. This host was hanging out under this porch, doing gravitas over and over again, pulling me into the Phantom's straight sword, and now that I have them alone, now that I have this host alone, finally, I can make some good stuff happen. But a blue is going to get summoned in immediately, just like some ambulance chaser who shows up to the scene of a crime while all the police are still standing around, pulls their pants down, and takes both hands and spreads their ass cheeks out as far as they can get them, and then begs and pleads and starts crying for the police officers to penetrate him. That's you when you're a blue. That's what you do. You're one of those people who hangs out with cops because you want to be one, but you're too stupid and fat and lazy to even do that. I hate you, and that's why. But let's get into some stuff where I don't hate blues. What about some regular stuff, Saint? I don't want to hear about some guy trying to get humped by the police. I'm trying to just watch an Elden Ring video, my dude. I hear you. I hear you. Here's another way that we can use Adula's Moonblade. This whole video is basically just going to be like how to use Carrying Greatsword or Adula's Moonblade. After Cannon of Haima or any like big explosion where you knock people down on the ground, they are probably going to roll up, and that roll is immune to all damage. You cannot roll punish that particular roll, but the roll after that can be punished. And so in moments of panic like that, where you knock somebody down, you can definitely set that up as a roll catch, and Adula's Moonblade is better at that than Carrying Greatsword is. Carrying Greatsword, you have to like really time it. It's hard. It's really hard. I actually have a clip of that. I didn't include it in this video, but I will. I'll put it in the video so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. Carrying Greatsword, like post backstab roll catch. In that instance that we just saw, it was basically just like my opponent was spamming Carrion Slicer, and I just took a chance. I just took a gamble that he would have bad spacing and whiff, and I punished the whiff with the Adula's Moonblade. Carrying Grandeur would work. I'm sorry, Carrying Greatsword would work just fine there as well. But that's a gamble. That's not like, the easiest thing in the world. Right there, you probably could have got off with Adula's Moonblade. I mean, you can get off however you like, just don't do it at a crime scene in front of the police standing over a dead body. Here you go. Actually, I don't have to include that. No, I probably still need to. That guy tried to attack. When I slow that down, you're going to see that guy tried to attack me. I didn't get that as a roll catch. Okay, so I still need to include that other thing. Alright, anyway, here's the thing you can do. If you ever want to test true combos, and you can do this with any true combo. Anything you suspect might be a true combo, you can come here. This is White Ridge Road, and there's a little fort, a little manor that has these humanoid enemies that respawn. There's a lot of humanoid enemies in the game, obviously, but these are like they share the game's character model. You guys want some lore? I was running around going for an invasion, and I noticed this woman was holding a torch, like a little lamp, and I was like, "What is that? Hands?" And so I took a moment to like stop and look at it, and yeah, it's hands. I think that might be like a kindling maiden's hands, you know? Like we have Melina like leading us around, and she's a kindling maiden. I think maybe those ladies have kindling maiden hands. Hey, is this the most unlucky guy in the world? Nothing, you know, this doesn't do anything. We don't learn anything here, except for that guy's the most unlucky guy who ever lived. That's the king of unluck. There's, this dude basically just overcommitted. Super overcommitted. And he kept going for running L1s like everybody always does. Hey, remember how I said I was going to put a clip in the video of me hitting a Carrion Greatsword backstab wake up? I lied. I can't find that clip. I'm pretty sure it's on another PlayStation profile. So here's this clip instead. Completely unrelated to anything, but an excuse for me to tell you, hey, sorry, I couldn't find that clip. Here you go. More of me talking about the thing that we're talking about. 11 minutes. I've been able to stay on track here. You know what I'm saying? I am absolutely nailing this commentary, if I do say so myself. This is, you know, Jehovah off the dome, and it's all one take. It's not really one take, but it basically is. Like I'm just taking a break to like drink my water because I keep talking. And you know, here at SaintRiot.com, invasions happen in a spectrum, and so do I. So when I start talking about something, you know it's going to be a real deal talking time. Just spamming an attack, that's easy to punish with Adulas, or Carrying Greatsword, either one. But I wasn't able to do any cool combos off of it because that guy was already dead. What happens in this invasion? Oh, this is very nice spacing, if I do say so myself. This is what all blues... You'll notice I'm trying to do all this cool stuff, but the moment a blue shows up, it's just like, nope, I have to kill you in the most boring way possible. Get outspaced. Go away. Go back to your own game. So this Phantom is trying to hide in the corner, and the host is trying to, like, 1v1 me, I think. I think that was their intentions. Yeah, they just succumbed to the mist, which is strange. This is, if you time it right, Adula's Moonblade and Carrying Greatsword are both like anti-air attacks. The problem is that they're not fast enough. There needs to be an anti-air attack that is like instantaneous, like a Dragon Punch. A Dragon Punch for Souls PvP. And just a full-blown anti-air. Anyway, the only reason I knew to do it there was because the guy did an empty jump. Sort of like, okay, if he jumps once, he'll jump again. And he did. And so I got lucky. Anyway, there's the stats again. If you want to look at those stats, you can never get enough of looking at the numbers. Oh, I suppose you might be thinking, like, what talismans are you wearing? Godfrey's Icon, Graven Mass Icon, Star Seeker, Heirloom, and Jar Seal Talisman for heavier armor. I was using Radigan's Icon, but I switched it up. I don't really need that cast speed, you know what I'm saying? Most of the spells I use are like, they're getting charged up. This invasion also doesn't have much to do with what we're talking about. However, I got the coolest camera shot of my character during this invasion, and I just had to... I mean, there's a Moonblade, and you can see the damage, 672. Look at this camera angle. Look, how do you not love this? How do you not love that little guy? Look at that little guy. We love him. He's so adorable. He's precious. We love that guy. Look at him. I guess that's something we haven't talked about, is the damage. So Adula's Moonblade, you know, it has the sword, and then it has the ice. And the ice, like I said, it got buffed. The spell overall got nerfed, but the beam got buffed, if I remember that correctly. Which is kind of interesting. The problem was at point-blank range, it was just killing you. Like, it was just, you know, it was proccing Frostbite and doing 1,000,000 damage. And so they nerfed it. This person has been getting, both of them, just throwing lasers non-stop. So they gotta go. Rivers of Blood and Other Ashes of War. that had their poise damage reduced, especially Rivers of Blood when it's just the blood hitting you. You can poise through that, even if you don't have a lot of poise. Like this build does not have much poise. Maybe like 40 something, 46 or 47 probably. If you have even that amount of poise, you can get through that first little swish of Rivers of Blood with carrying Greatsword or Adula's Moonblade. Just keep in mind that, like, try and dodge the first swish and then let the second swish be the trade. When I say the swish, it's swish, 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 swish. You know what I'm saying? Like, think Rivers of Blood. You want that swish, swish. If you're going to make a trade, you want to make a trade with the second swish. Swish, 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 right? So anyway, let's take a look at the damage here. We're going to hit an interesting kind of way right here. We're going to hit the blade and the beam at separate times. Blade, beam, 500 damage. All right, now watch what happens. Blade, beam, 500 damage instantly out of hit stun. Instantly out of hit stun from the 2 hits. So that is a thing that happens. With carrying Greatsword, if you hit it, you know it's going to do that true combo. But that's not necessarily true with Adulas if you land both hits. However, it does work like 90% of the time. It works every time. Saint, are you the greatest Elden Ring player who has ever lived? I don't think so, but I am my favorite Elden Ring player who has ever lived. And I think we can all be our own favorite Elden Ring players who ever lived. You know, nobody else is doing what I'm doing. Look at that. It's not even over. You think it's finished? It's never finished. It's never finished. But this video, it's finished. Thanks for watching it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I'll see you next time. Until then, later, y'all.